to avoid the extreme, part of this particular matter. So you were telling us, Fatma, about a very important aspect, which is the kind of exercises that are more preferable to do, especially when you're affected, by the hormonal imbalance. Yeah.
So the first one I mentioned was yoga, because it's going to be very helpful in balancing your hormones. Yoga in itself can actually help the glands that produce hormones for them to actually produce the hormones in the right state. And if you don't know how to start, you can actually just go on YouTube and type yoga for beginners and just choose whatever yoga video that comes there. Make sure you're careful, you're not hurting yourself. Just do something as basic as it can be. And especially during a period when you're about to get your period, this is the best way. That way the hormones are balanced and you're not packing on too much stubborn weight. Another very good one is known as Pilates. It's also a very good form.
Awesome.
It's the best. It's my favorite kind of workout right now, because you don't end up bulky. Yeah. Actually, it helps you lose weight, you sculpt, and the best thing is you actually maintain a feminine physique, which I think is so important, because sometimes I know for some people they insist that weight training is important. Yes, I'm not saying it's not the best. It is important for our bone health and bone density. It's just that for some women, when we struggle with hormonal imbalance, we're already packing on so much weight that when we add more weight, we actually end up looking bulky. And sometimes that is not the physique you're looking for. If it is, then yes, go for weight training. But if it's not, yoga and Pilates will be very easy for you. And there's not too much jumping. Like the workout I do right now, I don't jump at all, but I'm still able to carry my own body weight. You'll probably be in a push-up position, doing more stretches, but you are sweating because it's helping you. You're not putting too much stress and strain on your body, but you're staying lean and your muscles are also toned. And another good way is for you to just take like a brisk walk. If you can be able to walk and get the, like the Fitbit or something you wear whereby it will tell you how
many
far,
steps?
Yes, how many steps, how far you are supposed to go in order for you to burn maybe this number of calories. That's still going to be able to be helpful. If you can do it in a place where you are near nature or you're somewhere where you can be able to breathe in fresh air, get some sunlight, that's so important. Because the goal is for us to balance the hormones first, then now bring in the workout so that we can be able to lose the weight. If you do it, especially during the early morning hours or late evening, because the sun at that time is actually going to provide you with enough vitamin D. And vitamin D is not just a vitamin, it's actually a hormone that helps us women, all of us, to balance our hormones correctly and lose weight, such that you are able to maintain a healthy weight. Actually, those are the words I'm looking for. So if you can do it whereby you are able to get the early morning sun or late evening, it's still fine. And if you can do it indoors because maybe where you are you're not able to, that's still fine, as long as your body is moving and you remain consistent. Don't try to be perfect, be consistent, because with perfection you may achieve your results in a short period of time because you want to achieve it very fast, but then it's very hard for you to maintain it because you are a human being. There will be a day you really won't feel like doing it, but you still do it regardless because it is for your health and your well-being.
All right. Yeah. I've also seen how your general, like your outside appearance can get affected when you're, on that hormonal imbalance aspect. Yeah. Because you find that you have breakouts, things that you can get rid of. Yeah. And you're trying every single thing in the market, but it's not working. And yet it's an internal kind of thing, So what exactly happens during that moment? I know you've said a lot, but just specifically, is there something that affects your skin in a way where you have acne, the hormonal acne, and all the other breakouts that come now? Generally. Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, our skin is affected by our hormones because there are certain hormones that are going to lead to certain skin issues. For instance, skin tags. If you've seen anyone who has like skin tags on them, usually that's a sign that you have high levels of insulin and blood sugar is very high, because that then leads to development of skin tags. Another very big one is hyperpigmentation or melasma. That's why you find during pregnancy, maybe your complexion might change or half of your body might actually be darker than the other side. It's because there is like a way that estrogen is so high that it
goes to cells known as melanocytes, the cells that actually produce your melanin. So it goes and tells them to produce excess melanin. So the more melanin
like
you have.
Like 1/2 part of your body.
Yes, yes. And then you just, it's insane, I know.
It's insane.
Nobody will be able to understand it, but that's how hormones work, right? So you look at someone, they're pregnant, they look completely different, but it's not their fault.
Like you have 2 colors.
I know.
You know, 2 pigments.
I've seen this. And
I was those people when I had my second child. I literally was 2. I am this color here and another color. A
different one.
Yeah, but everything, you know, came together afterward.
Yeah, because then the hormones balanced.
Yes.
And then you were fine.
Yeah.
Because again, nobody's going to lie to you and be like, scrub this thing off. No, it's in your bloodstream.
It's wild to see, though.
Exactly. Yeah. And also just the fact that hyperpigmentation and melasma in itself is an issue that is an estrogen issue. Is already the one thing that women need to understand, so that nobody is lying to you and telling you, you can just scrub this thing off and then it will go away. No, because even if you scrub it off, it will still happen because it's still in your bloodstream. And another big one is acne, as you've mentioned, especially cystic acne or hormonal acne. It's the kind of acne that shows up during your period or right before your period. And majority of the times it will appear on the lower part of your face, whether it will be on your cheeks, it will be on your jawline, your chin. That's the type of acne that will tell you this is hormonal, and majority of the times it is caused by high levels of insulin, high levels of blood sugar, high levels of testosterone as well. And I think there's another important thing that we should focus on. I see so many women who are struggling, especially for women who are using the skin lightening products, because skin lightening products actually will alter your hormones. They will actually cause hormonal imbalance. So you'll notice that majority of the women who are using skin lightening products, they're going to either struggle with acne, breakouts, or they will struggle with facial hair. And then it goes even further. They start struggling with issues like infertility and PCOS. And that's because whenever they are using the product, whatever chemical is inside there goes and triggers testosterone hormone. So you find that testosterone hormones actually increase so much. And when they increase, testosterone normally has a habit of making you have breakouts, so you will have acne. It also is the kind of hormone that is more dominant in men, so it will give you more male-like characteristics like facial hair. So you find you're actually developing a beard or hair on your chin. So you'll find that with skin lightening products, they can actually lead to these issues, but it's because it is hormonal, because it goes and alters your hormone levels. So testosterone actually rises so much. So it is so important for us to understand how our hormones affects our skin, because if we don't understand that aspect, we might fall prey to people selling us products that lying to us that, you know, yes, maybe you should use this thing during pregnancy because it will, you know, change your complexion. No, someone, you know, for us at Wellness K, we have Wellness K Skin, whereby we have a package. It's both herbal teas, some oils that you take internally, and something you can use to clean your skin that's natural with no chemicals. Why? Because we have to make sure that we are healing your skin from the inside out. That is the wise way to actually deal with any hormonal issues that are affecting the skin.
Let's talk about facial hair, especially. It's a very big deal for very many women. And for those who are not even using skin lightening products, the PCOS, you know, a perspective is quite a nuisance, you know, for many. And you find that for some, it's on the excess end of things. They've used all the ointments, they've gone to get medication, but it just somehow does not, you know, make them any better for that matter. So what can they do when you have issues with facial hair? Facial
hair. Okay, so facial hair is a very big one because it is a sign that testosterone is very high. Because as we understand, testosterone is a hormone that is more dominant in men, right? So if it's more dominant in men, it should exist in us women, but smaller amounts, right? Because in our bodies as women, we don't necessarily make estrogen. Our estrogen is made from testosterone. So you have testosterone, then there's an enzyme that turns it into estrogen. So testosterone is important to us, but when it is in excess, we are going to end up with facial hair. So the first thing is you need to make sure that if you are able to get a hormone test to check for your testosterone levels. As I mentioned, any hospital can give you this test, but if you go to just a general hospital, you can be able to get that test. The price is between like $1,000, $1,500. If you go to a private hospital, it may be more. You never know. And then what you need to do is make sure you start balancing your hormones through your diet. That will be the biggest part, like 80%. If you can eat more protein as opposed to more foods that are high in carbohydrates. Like if you eat carbohydrates, make sure it is carbohydrates that are complex and not refined. A good example, you can eat your ndumas and your ngwashes and cassava and your, you know, like brown ugali, because they are more complex. They do not spike your blood sugar very fast, and they're not going to lead to also high levels of testosterone. Yeah. And then another thing is, even as you eat more protein, you need to make sure that you are always adding more fiber to your diet. And very good example, you can either be having more salads, or you can have more greens. Kienyeji greens is also another good example. The kanzera, the managu, every time you have your meal. And then also, let's not forget, even if you cannot do that, maybe let's say you're the type of person who is not able to make a salad from scratch, you can actually make a kachumbari. That's also one of the easiest ways. I find that it can actually be helpful. A kachumbari with some eggs, maybe boiled eggs in it, and then maybe your meal on the side, that will still be okay. So adding fiber will help you in balancing your hormones. Adding protein to your meals and avoiding the refined carbohydrates will also be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, let's take a look at how brain fog, really, you said it's so important.
I know.
Fatma, and I need you to just, you know, go ahead and repeat that matter, because it's not just in mommy brain.
No.
You just find that when you're, you know, stressed and you're not having enough sleep, everything is wrong with you. The headaches, you can't especially remember things. And if you're in school, let's say, and you need to retain information, of course.
I know.
And you need to get and retain this information. You just seem to be forgetting things. You cannot remember where your keys are and you're holding them.
I know.
you can't remember simple things. So just explain to us again the science of even how that happens and what foods you can eat.
Well, with brain fog, it's an issue that affects many women. It's true what you've said. It's not just pregnant women, but it's all of us. I know I struggled with it when I had fibroids, and I've shared that I used to sometimes go to the kitchen, light the gas, and I forget that I've actually lit the gas, and it was that dangerous. So brain fog is something that can affect us women so much, and it's because there's a hormone, estrogen, that is responsible for our cognitive function. So in order for our brain to function properly, and that's why sometimes you'll see that if maybe let's say you're going through your period, it may not be the best time for you to handle things like heavy machinery or just things that will need for you to focus and strain so much, because you may be just a little bit slower than normal, and I notice it.
What if now we have a scenario where some women don't have that choice?
I know.
They have to just do what they need to do.
Maybe she's a pilot. Maybe she's a pilot.
And she's flying on that day when they have come.
I know, because the truth is it is about your estrogen levels, and also balancing estrogen levels will be so important in that case, because when your estrogen levels are not balanced, you will struggle constantly with issues like brain fog, even fatigue from just waking up in the morning. You have done nothing, but you're already tired, and also memory loss. That's another big one. Balancing estrogen is so important. One of the easiest ways you can do that is to add foods known as cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage, and drinking teas like green tea, because their main purpose is to actually make sure that your estrogen levels go from very high to the balanced state. And they also boost your progesterone, because estrogen and progesterone work well together. So if you can just add this, just simple steps like adding cabbage or broccoli, cauliflower to your diet, you will notice huge change. And a cup of just matcha green tea, you will notice big change. I know, because I've tried it, and I've tried it on so many of our women, because when you have this particular issue, you are going to constantly get into a state where you're either going to be putting yourself in danger or others in danger. So think about balancing estrogen, and think about doing it consistently, such that even as you get your next period, you notice that it's not heavy, it's not painful, and you're not struggling with the brain fog anymore. That's the easiest way.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to engage our audience here. We had asked the question of the day, Fatma. We had asked our audience, how do you think stress and lack of sleep can disrupt hormonal health? And this is Facebook, so I just want to read two of the responses, which I think can also help our conversation from our viewers. Now, Fallen Fabiano, he says, the brain being the body's engine, it needs rest for it to function well in the role of hormonal imbalance, basically what you've just said right now. And Milani Moss, I beg your pardon, he says, imbalance of sex hormones and then it says stress can increase the production of certain hormones like prolactin, which can interfere with the normal regulation of reproductive hormones, potentially leading to irregular menstrual cycles or fertility issues. Additionally, chronic stress can lower levels of estrogen and progesterone, leading to problems like a premenstrual syndrome, PMS, or menopause symptoms.
Yeah, those are some good points.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when you have issues like, maybe let's say you're not getting enough hours of sleep and rest, and you're also not, you're constantly under stress, your hormones will be affected. As I mentioned, when you are going through chronic stress, then you're going to be producing too much of a hormone called cortisol. This is your stress hormone. It's meant to come in and counterattack any kind of stress in your body. But when you keep going through this stress all the time, then you will go through that cortisol imbalance because you will overproduce it. Then now you will have way too high levels of cortisol. And when you have too much cortisol, as I mentioned, it is a hormone that is known for encouraging fat storage. So it will affect you because you will start now storing more fat, gaining more stubborn weight, and it's very hard for you to lose. And also women who are going through cortisol levels also experience imbalances with their sex hormones. So getting your period, maybe your period will come with very serious PMS, very serious pain, like it's a period, but then it is, you are dreading it because it's not a peaceful kind of period.
No.
Yeah. And so cortisol will come and affect your sex hormones. It will also affect your hunger hormones because sometimes you might actually get into a habit of overeating and overindulging for no particular reason. And also sleep is so important, and the hormones balance so well when you get really good sleep. And the thing is that when you do not get enough sleep, it will also affect you. One that is so common for all of us women, when we have not slept well, or when you find yourself up at night, you might start needing something to eat. You just find that there's a hunger that comes, maybe I need to snack on something, and it's 1 o'clock. At night, you have no business eating anything because you had your dinner at like 10 or 9. But then again, it's because the hormones are not balanced. Then they signal you and lie to you that you're hungry. And then you find yourself doing some late night binging or eating. But it's because you do not have enough hours of sleep. And again, your body has a sleep cycle. Like there's a wake up and sleep cycle. It understands that cycle really well. And during the hours when you should sleep, you should be sleeping. If you don't, your hormones will be imbalanced. It can affect your weight because sometimes women are struggling so much to lose the weight, but it's because they're not getting enough rest after the workout and all that and the diets. They're not getting enough rest and enough sleep. So then their body is constantly under fat storage. They find themselves constantly just snacking in the middle of the night. But it's because the sleep cycle has now come and affected your hunger hormones and your hormones that should signal you that you are full. Basically, if you don't balance those hormones, if you don't get enough sleep, you don't balance your hormones, your sleep hormones, it now affects your hunger and satiety hormones. You can actually lie to yourself that you're not full, even though you are. Then you start eating. Again, as I said, it is a domino effect. It starts from somewhere, then it continues to affect you all throughout. But in terms of hours of sleep, if you can get like a bit, some 8 to 9 hours of sleep, that is so important. And I'm seeing nowadays people are even like more into it. They get their Fitbits, they are able to check for how many hours of sleep did I get, like, and was it a peaceful sleep? Did I rest really well enough such that I wake up not feeling tired, because that is common for so many of us. You've just woken up, you have done absolutely nothing, but you're already fatigued.
You're so exhausted.
And that is not a good sign. No. So trying your best to make sure that you're not looking at gadgets and you're not on social media right before you sleep. You're not, it's not heavy, too much bright lights before you go to bed.
You oversaturate your mind.
Your mind, because it will not rest. It will not rest. And you need the sleep, because if you can be able to even switch off the TV because you know it shouldn't be on for the whole night, why would you not switch
off your brain?
Why would you not? And then you want it to function properly. How? You're not even doing the right things for yourself, but you still want this same body to give you the best results. We have to now start treating our bodies the best way. That way we can be able to be in the best health.
Right.
Yeah.
So Fatma, we need to wind up in a bit, but
Yeah.
you have very important things here which
Yeah.
can aid, you know, in someone's wellness.
Yeah.
Like checking yourself, you know, your heart rate, your weight,
yes.
and all that. And we're going into a festive season, rather we are in a festive season, and it's okay to indulge, but of course to a level that is healthy.
Yeah.
So we have a skill here. You have a blood pressure
machine, and then this is a glucometer for checking your blood sugar. So this is something that we tried this year, 2024. My goal was, if I'm ever going to buy a gift for anyone or someone's buying a gift for me, I want it to be related to my health and my well-being. So as we go into the festive season, it's so important because this is a time you might want to gift your mom, your sister, something, but think about their health and their well-being, because you find that it's going to help them as they get into 2025 as they're making their health goals. So a blood sugar meter is going to help you in making sure that you know the levels of your blood sugar levels and insulin, fasting insulin. So let's say you've eaten your meal during the festive season. After about 1.5 hours or 2 hours, you can be able to actually check your blood sugar. If it's too high, this kit will actually tell you that the blood sugar is way too high. And if it is, then you know maybe I indulged too much, and I can be able to now balance my blood sugar levels naturally. Another very important one is a blood pressure kit. This is actually a very good kit to have because it helps you in knowing like your blood pressure, because sometimes we don't know. We actually end up in hospital during checkup, or when you're very sick, then the doctor is like, wow, your blood pressure is so high. But again, if you can have something like this at home, then you can be able to take care of yourself, right? And another important one is the weighing scale. I know 2025, whenever we start at the year, everybody has weight goals, right? Yes. Everybody is like, I want my body to change. This is the year I'm doing it. This is, but my husband actually advised me so well. He was like, I see you always say that, yes, you achieve your goals, but you never have the metrics. Like, I never know, how much do I weigh? How much should I lose? How much should I? Then he was like, just get a scale. I'm like, no, I don't need it. I can figure this out. No, it was the best decision of my life, because now I have actually maintained my weight so easy at 38 than when I was in my 20s, because all I do is I just step on the scale, I know my weight, then I know how much I should lose, or if I'm at a healthy weight. So a weighing scale will be such a good gift for you to even gift your mom, your sister, your friend, someone who you know maybe might be struggling with hormonal issues, because then they'll be able to be aware. And to be honest with you, these are just some ideas, but at the end of the day, if you can be able to start a habit whereby you are checking in on yourself and your health, or you have, or you have an accountability partner. Maybe it's your friend, and you can say, Remy, please be checking on me and tell me, like, if I'm not okay, if you see that I'm not doing okay, how can I improve myself and, you know, like keep me on track with my health goals. So I really, really pray that everyone gets to have a great festive season and a healthy 2025, so that they can be able to just finally balance those hormones that keep taking us through so much.
I know, you can actually think that your life is such a mess.
I know.
Because your hormones. The next day you're like, what was happening?
Okay. Yeah, you're like, I'm actually fine.
In fact, briefly, I just need you to help also just put into perspective how one can be able to control, especially the feelings which are not so good, and you feel, because they take up a lot of time when it comes to women and how they feel, and that affects how they do their work, especially in their productivity.
That's so true.
So how can they control emotions, especially which are negative, and they cannot help help it?
I can say personally what helped me, I read a quote that said, feelings are not facts. So really, you might wake up in the morning and feel the worst, but I want for you to understand it is not a fact. If you feel like you are isolated, if you feel like the world is upside down, it is not a fact. At that moment, there's a certain hormone that has taken over that's making you feel the worst. One of the best ways would be for you to either seek any kind of activity that will lead to feel-good hormones. There are some hormones like endorphins that are released whenever you do something that makes you feel good. For instance, if you can be able to take a walk, if you can be able to exercise and move your body, if you can be able to be in nature, if you can be around, maybe let's say it's your pet, an animal or something, that these are actually actions that can lead to release of endorphins. If you can do something that is satisfying, maybe it's a project, maybe anything that
so that makes you happy.
That makes you happy. And as simple as that may seem, these activities actually release endorphins that are meant to be feel-good hormones. And when they are released, we end up being very calm. Just get into a habit of, I'm in this state right now, I feel the worst, let me not stay in it. Let me get up, let me feel good, I can take a shower, I can dress in something nice, I can walk out of this place and just go somewhere else and feel good and come back.
All right,
and
Fatma,
be
thank
better.
you. Thank you so much for that perspective. It's so important. I appreciate you coming in this morning and telling us more about hormonal imbalance. Thank you for putting that into perspective.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Right, thank you so much for watching Morning Vibe today. We've been speaking about hormonal imbalance in women. I hope you now know more and you can understand what to do and what not to do. We'll catch you again tomorrow where we speak about matters of your heart, that is relationships. Do stay with us.